So, today I want to talk about another really important topic that influences your gut in a big way and can have a dramatic impact on how healthy your digestion is and food sensitivities and these uncomfortable symptoms that you are experiencing. So, I want to talk today about environmental toxins and the impact that they can have on your gut and your digestion, and what you can do about it as well, because there are things that we can do to minimize these toxins in our environment, and I'll get into that also. So, I want to start out by talking about your total body burden, which is basically we each have a bucket that can only hold so much, and how much your bucket can hold is based on your genetics, the other stressors on your body and in your life, everything that's coming in and that stresses your body and your gut. So it's not, it's the total body. We're looking at the body as a whole here, of course. Other ways this is referred to is like your total toxic load. It can be the total stress on your body. So there's different names that people use to describe this. But basically, what it means is that when your bucket gets to a place where it can't hold anymore, it's going to start overflowing. And that's when we start to see symptoms, illness, and dis-ease show up in the body. So, the reason that is so important in relation to your food sensitivities and gut health is you might have been able to tolerate things, but as your bucket starts to fill up and overflow, you start to become more symptomatic and don't tolerate as many foods. And that's our body's way of letting us know you just cannot handle everything that's coming in right now. So one way, when you're looking through that lens, one way to address this is that we need to keep that level in your bucket down to a healthy level where it's not overflowing or even at risk of overflowing. And so environmental toxins play into this because they're a major stressor on the body. And they come in multiple forms and from multiple sources, which I'll get into. But it's a major stress on your body. And in today's world, it's a constant stress. We have toxins and chemicals coming from all different places. So we have things in the air that we breathe, our furniture, new furniture off gases, anything you bring into your house new, pressed board, pressed like plywood kind of materials. We have flame retardants on our bedding and our clothing. There's chemicals in our water. Today, the farming practices have really changed and can, in the past, 50 plus years, but in the recent future, we've had a lot of changes to the way that we farm our food and the way our soils, how many nutrients the soil holds onto as well. So food used to be a lot more nourishing than it is these days. It's still very important to look at your food, of course. I'm a firm believer in the power of food, but we also need to think about what's coming along with that. If you're buying conventional produce, it's going to have conventional pesticides on it. Even organic produce has pesticides on it, but not near as many, and they're not near as toxic. They're much more regulated than the non-organic produce and what they put on those things. So we have things coming in from our food, the food and water we drink. We take things in through our skin, through both our water and the toxins and heavy metals and chemicals that are in our water supply. The cosmetics and beauty products, also those things we absorb through our skin, and they go directly into our bloodstream, without even the added benefit of going through your system. So anything you put on your skin is going to impact your gut just as much as the things that you consume or eat. So that's another source. We have electromagnetic radiation and electromagnetic frequencies all around us with Wi-Fi and cell phones and 5G and, electrical appliances as well. And, there's certain things we can do to kind of bring those levels down. And it's really important to learn how to minimize these toxins in your environment and minimize these stressors so that your body has the resources it needs to heal. And another thing that I want to mention is back to stress. And so if you've heard me talk before, I talk a lot about stress and the importance of minimizing stress in your life and managing the unavoidable stressors. And that's because stress is another toxin on your gut and your digestive system. It impacts your body as a whole, and it utilizes resources that we need for other things. So when you think about all of that, and knowing that your bucket only has a certain amount that it can hold, and we're filling it up with constant stress in our society, here in the States and in Western cultures in general, things can be really fast paced, a lot of pressure. A lot of us struggle with perfectionism and a need to please or to get things just right, and the stress that comes from relationships and not having clear boundaries, and then just being busy and doing all the things adds a lot of mental stress, but it also adds a lot of physical stress to the body. And then you add in the environmental toxin piece along with that, with our food, air, water, and all of those things. And it's just so often too much. And our bodies tell us when that's the case. The symptoms that we feel are the messages that our bodies are sending to us. Our bodies are communicating that, hey, I can't take anymore. I need you to do something. This is a problem for me. So that's when we start looking at how we can bring that stress down, looking at our food. There's things you can do to purify and clean your water. There's things you can do and practices you can have in your house that will help with bringing the toxins down that you bring into your home. And some of them are really simple, cheap things, like opening your windows, letting fresh air in, taking your shoes off at the door. There's things that you can do that are really simple. Get a water filter that can help you to be drinking cleaner water. Think about the food that you're buying, and if it's not organic, know the source that it's coming from. There's great non-certified organic food. You can find that a lot of times at farmers markets or local farms that you can purchase from. Like maybe they don't spend the money to become certified organic, but they have practices there where they're not putting a bunch of toxic chemicals, and those can be some of the best resources for food. And it's not just produce, it's also meats. There's antibiotics and hormones in the meats that we eat. So those are things that we consume. And I guess today we're talking more about environmental toxins, but just to give you a big picture of how all these things build up in our system. And, most of you that are here listening have some sort of symptoms and are trying to find solutions for that. And this is something that I found for myself, but also my clients, to be really powerful in just reducing that total body burden, that toxic burden that comes from so many directions in our lives. And so just kind of making small, sustainable changes is the best way to go about this. One thing that I love to suggest for people is, like, as you use a product up, just replace it with a more healthy option, a less toxic option. And you're not going to be able to avoid toxins. It's impossible. They're everywhere in our environment. But, there's things you can do, like keeping your cell phone away from your body, turning your Wi-Fi off at night. And again, just opening the window and letting fresh air in. The air in our homes is usually worse than the air outside, unless you live in a really polluted city or somewhere that just has a lot of toxic air pollution. Almost always the air inside our homes is worse. So thinking about this whole big picture, I want to just talk about two things that are important to think about. One is, we've already touched on, is minimizing these toxins and the sheer quantity that comes in from our environment into our body, and from our food, water, and skincare products as well. So minimizing those things as much as possible is super important, because you stop that consistent flow. And actually, you don't stop it, but you minimize the flow, and hopefully down to a level where your body can tolerate what's coming in and process that out. So as I say that, I'm thinking about the detox organs, like your liver, your kidney, your lymphatic system, your colon, which are all ways that we get rid of waste from our body. And those systems need to be supported and working well. And so as those things are working really well, and we decrease the amount coming in, you're able to your body's able to process out the remaining bit that comes in. So even though you can't get it all the way down to zero by minimizing, hopefully we give our bodies the chance where they can handle what's coming in and the liver doesn't get backed up and we don't end up with these other issues. And of course, this all goes in combination with, figuring out your food, what works for you, because that is another source of inflammation and stress on the body as well. So, looking at all of these things together, and then your stress and all these different pieces come together. And, I really believe that it's never just one thing. There's not a magic thing to help you move past your food sensitivities and really take control of your symptoms, but it's bringing in all these pieces, creating sustainable change through food and your lifestyle that will let you live in a way that your body can thrive, really. So the second thing is that we have accumulated these chemicals and toxins over the years. Our bodies store them, and especially if they don't have the resources to get rid of them, we store it in fat cells, we store it in different places in our body. And so the second piece is that we want to work with that accumulation, that buildup that has happened over the years, and really do some things to support those detox organs and to allow your body to start removing and reducing that buildup. So, super important, really good thing to be aware of. And also, I just want you to know that there are so many small, inexpensive things that you can do to work with this. It doesn't have to be a big overhaul. Like, you can just take little steps towards where you want to be and take these little steps that will help reduce and minimize the toxins in your environment. So if you want to learn more about this, feel free to reach out with questions. And I also offer a free coaching session. So if you want to dive into some of these areas that I talk about, figuring out your food, figuring out what works for you, to minimize stress, what really works in your life, figuring out and identifying what environmental toxins or external stressors we have coming in on your body, and just really learning to listen to your body and trust what you feel and know to be true for your body and what your body's telling you individually. That's going to be the guiding light. And so if you're interested in a free coaching session, just write yes in the comments below and I'll be in touch to set something up. I'd love to take that time and get to know your story a little bit better and help you come up with a clear plan. And like I said, it's totally free, so you can explore that, and I'd love to help you do that. So I'll see you again next week, and I hope this has been helpful. All right. Have a great day.